Welcome back to vidIQ. We are once again auditing your channels. We are going to review your channels. We're going to be picking them randomly for the next 2 hours, and we'll explain in just a bit how that all works. But first, let's welcome Jeff into the room. How's it going?
I'm good.
What? What's wrong? I thought you liked quick intros.
No, I'm good. We're good to go.
Do you want us to start again? Should I? If you want, I mean, we could just do this whole thing again.
One more time.
One more time. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We are going to be, like I said, auditing your channels. Let us know in the comments right now or in the live chat, depending on if you're watching this live or not, how long you've been at it on YouTube. How many days, weeks, months, years have you been grinding away at your YouTube goals? Let us know. I often forget, honestly. What about you, Jeff? How long have you been doing the things on the YouTubes?
A little over, well, closer to 6 years. In May, it'll be 6 years straight. So, yeah.
6 years, my goodness. Yeah. We got a whole bunch here. 5 days, 4 months, 31 days, 2 months, 8 days. So a lot of very recent channels here, a couple years, 4 months. So everybody here who is very new to YouTube, or if you've been at it for several months or several years, you are going to get a lot out of today, as long as you're taking notes on all the different channels we're going to see. You can submit your channels, but they may or may not get picked. So just be sure you are taking notes throughout today's stream. And what we're going to do right now is explain how you can submit that channel right now and how you could potentially get picked to have your channel reviewed.
Welcome to the vidIQ channel reviews live stream. Simply fill in the correct form in the video description and your channel will be considered for review during a live stream. Channel reviews are free, so no need to send us a super chat, and don't spam us in the live chat. We'll ignore it and you may be put in timeout. After the live stream, don't forget to download the vidIQ extension where you can get a custom channel audit, daily ideas, and an AI-powered video title generator. Link is in the description. If you submit your channel for review, expect the following. We are sharing nothing more than our knowledge, experience and passion as fellow creators. Thank you to all of our moderators who help us out on the live stream every week. You know who you are. Give us a like if you enjoy this live stream, subscribe if you love it, and share it with like-minded fellow creators. All right, let's get started.
There are so many cool things I want to show you today, by the way. Everybody here. There's something new we have. Rob in that video just mentioned a couple of different tools, the AI title generator, things like that. We have expanded yet again in terms of our feature offerings. I'm very excited. A little bit later on today, I'm going to show you something that that should blow your minds. It blew my mind, and I'm excited to show you. I'm just going to tease that now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Another thing too is make sure you don't have to have your channel on the screen. So I just want to make this very, very clear, because this is something that gets very, very mixed up by a lot of the people in the chat. Having your channel up on our screen is not going to bring you a bunch of subscribers, because the people that are watching this stream are not your target audience. Half of them don't even care about the kind of videos that you upload. So these aren't the people that you want subscribing to your channel. You don't want subscribers who are not interested in your content. So what you should be doing in the time that we are not looking at your channel is taking notes. And it doesn't even have to be a channel in your niche for you to pull at some tips and advice from what we're telling these people and apply it to your own channel. So that's what I did for the longest time, watching Rob, watching Liron, watching Dan, before I became a part of this team. So I strongly recommend that you guys take notes and try to apply this to yourselves. It's really, really not that difficult. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the first lesson of the day before we get into our first channel, honestly. If somebody, let's say your channel gets on the screen and you're like, oh my gosh, what if I got like 100 subscribers from this? You would get 100 dead subscribers. Because everybody here, just like you, is looking for some advice to grow their channels. They are not looking for somebody who's really good at trick shots. They're not looking for somebody who is really good at speedrunning Mario. They're here trying to learn. So they're not really going to subscribe to your channel. But there's a misconception here that I'm glad you addressed, because we wouldn't want them to anyway. I certainly wouldn't want them to. So let's check out the first channel. Before we get into those random selections we talked about, we have a bunch of pre-selections, some different channels we want to point out for various reasons, and we like to take the first channels who managed to submit early when the form was cleared off and went online. And one of those first channels was General Kenobot. They are a Star Wars channel, and they have almost 10,000 subscribers. So huge congrats to them for making it this far on YouTube already. I've sorted by popular because I was browsing around, but here's what they've done recently. Here's their video from 10 days ago, Star Wars Jedi Survivor villain, all scenes in order. So they are basically taking different Star Wars shows, movies, and breaking them down, is what I can gather from this channel just by being here for a few moments. Jeff, what are you seeing?
Yeah, essentially the same. It seems obviously we're getting a lot of Star Wars like lore kind of stuff, and even from the name. So I'm assuming this is who their target audience is. I'm just not sure exactly what it is. Like I'm not sure if we're doing show reviews, episode reviews, if we're just talking lore. So I'm having a bit of confusion as a Star Wars fan myself as to what kind of channel this is, and I'm not sure if they spelled that out for us on the banner or if they spelled that out for us in the about section. So Star Wars shorts 2 to 3 times a day, cool. Upload through 3 shorts. Okay, but you're not telling me what. So I'm getting a bit of confusion here. That's at least for me. I'm getting a little bit of confusion as to what exactly this is about. If it's just randomness around the Star Wars universe, then okay, cool. So be it. That can totally work in your favor because Star Wars is a huge, huge thing. But you know, I'm just like I said, I'm just a little confused as to what I would get out of this.
I was too. I still am. I definitely don't know exactly what kind of Star Wars fan this is for. I'm guessing the idea here is I'm going to niche down to Star Wars, and the thought process, the planning didn't go much further beyond that. Like if you like Star Wars, it's assumed you should like whatever's on this channel. And that might be true, but there's another problem this channel is struggling with, and I think it's the hit and miss nature of their videos. So when you look at the most popular ones, you do have some really strong videos here. You got Obi-Wan versus Anakin fights, side-by-side comparison. You have Tala slaps the stormtroopers. Very simple title, short video. Anakin is still a Padawan at 40 years old. So you got some kind of funny things going on here, maybe some memes. And what I like about this is every single one of those videos teases something or is clear about what it's going to be about. If you go into this video, you are given enough information to make a decision whether to click or not. But when you look at their recent uploads, that becomes a bit more murky. So Star Wars Jedi Survival Villain, all scenes in order. All scenes, like what does this mean? If you say something is all scenes in order, it sounds like you're taking an entire show or an entire movie and just uploading it to YouTube, but it's 51 seconds long. So clearly that's not what you've done here. And in 51 seconds, like what are you going to tell me about all the scenes in this particular Star Wars property? I'm not really sure. The funniest moment in Andor, I mean, again, it's a short enough video. It did okay, but I don't know. The thumbnail isn't screaming funny to me. Maybe it's because I haven't seen the show yet. I could be missing something there. But there's a couple of these videos that I'm just kind of like, what is this? How to get 4K filter on CapCut edits. This seems like a tutorial for something totally different, and you just happen to use a Star Wars thumbnail.
Yeah, that's a how-to video pointed at people trying to learn a software, which is not what your channel's about. And your viewers that are there for Star Wars content, they're not really there for that. Not saying that the video didn't pull some decent views, it did, but that's the thing though, is you have to make sure you stay focused on what your channel's about and who you're targeting as your audience. So I would always stray away from doing that kind of stuff. It might seem like, oh, I need to get a video out. Let me just do this. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm. And then when you get down here, how everyone reacted to the Obi-Wan Kenobi announcement. Straightforward title, straightforward thumbnail. I at least know what I'm going to get out of this video. I don't have to think about it. And that's the thing I'm just trying to point out. You're going to have a lot more success on YouTube if you keep it simple. Don't let people think too hard when they stumble upon your title or your thumbnail. And that will be recurring advice throughout the day. Because we see that quite often. And then there's ones like this. Every Obi-Wan hello, they're synced. I know exactly what I'm getting here. It didn't do quite well. It might be a thumbnail issue. It might just be that, you know, people feel like they know exactly what the video is going to be in 15 seconds. They don't really need to click on this because they probably think to themselves, oh, okay. And then they just keep scrolling. Maybe this would have worked better as a short instead. This, to me, if it's going to be a 15-second video anyway, you might as well have made it for YouTube Shorts. Speaking of shorts, you are making shorts. I just wanted to look real quick. A lot of them over 1,000 views.
Nice.
So doing some really good stuff here. I would say your shorts views are very, very consistent.
Yeah. I think a majority of their of the videos are probably going to be shorts, being that that's what their content, at least that's what it says, 2 to 3 shorts a day is going to, obviously they're going to be uploading more of that than anything else.
Yeah. I did look on the forum beforehand. I believe this person said they were not primarily a shorts creator, but I could be wrong. Maybe we spent a little too much time here.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But I think that's what they are. I think they're primarily a shorts creator.
Yeah. And in that sense, you're doing a really good job. And the next time a new Star Wars movie is announced or TV show, you should be all over it. We do have a little more information now on I literally want to call it the Baby Yoda show. It's not that. Mandalorian. We have a little more information on the next season of Mandalorian, so you could start to make some shorts that are more catering to that show. And just keep it current. There's a lot of current Star Wars stuff going on, so definitely continue hitting those more current series as you look to make content. All right, we'll move on to the next one. Now, this is the first gaming channel that's submitted, but this is going to be kind of a back-to-back audit. We're going to do something a little bit different with this one, Jeff, because this channel was actually the first person to also submit on the non-gaming form. And usually when I feel like people are going to the forums and trying to find ways to guarantee themselves an audit, I don't tend to audit them. But I chose them this time, and that's why we looked at General Kenobot first, because they actually submitted early on the forums as well. I just wanted to make sure somebody else got in there. My advice for this channel is very specifically about the fact that they have 2 channels. But because this is the gaming section, we'll talk a little bit about some of the things you're doing on your gaming channel, and then we'll get to that more, broad advice in a moment. So on your gaming channel, I'm seeing a lot of Fortnite, which is pretty good. You would generally want to try and focus again on one audience. Similar to the channel we just saw, we talked about how their audience seems to be people who just like Star Wars, but it doesn't seem super clear over there. And so for you, it seems like you are niching down into Fortnite, and that is really good. What I'm noticing, though, are title and thumbnail-wise, not a lot of intrigue here. You've tried a few different things to a couple of views, kind of here and there, and nothing is quite taken off yet. And your last upload was a couple of weeks ago. You've been on it on this now for 3 months, so you're just starting out. A lot of testing still needs to occur. If I were you, I would continue testing out just different ideas. Not just improving titles and thumbnails, which could use some improvement. I would say these are your strongest ones because at least they're trying to convey a clear message. Although it's not super clear, maybe a little more clear to Fortnite fans. I'm not the target audience here, so maybe this is something. But color challenge almost seems made up. I've never seen a color challenge in Fortnite, so I'm kind of wondering if this is something you just kind of decided to do versus an ongoing trend that you're jumping on. And that would be my other bit of advice. Within your space, try and find a trend that you can also give your interpretation of. If you're trying to make your own trends, and I could be wrong, maybe this is a trend, but if you're trying to make your own things to try and get people, invested in them, to try and get your own trend going, you're going to kind of spin your wheels for a long time. You got to earn a little bit of clout first. No one knows who you are yet. No one's found you yet. So it's really, really important that you go out and talk about things that are, in people's minds already. They're already being searched for. So those were just my initial thoughts. Have you seen anything here, Jeff, before we zoom out a little bit?
No, you pretty much covered it as far as that goes. So yeah, I would definitely agree with what you said there. I think if anything, we should probably talk a little bit more from a helicopter perspective about sort of what they're doing here strategy-wise.
So what I noticed about these 2 channels is that they both started at the same time, like 3 months ago. Now, this channel is about movies and TV shows. They're giving reviews of Andor and Secret Invasion trailers and just all this different kind of stuff. And then this channel is just about, I'm assuming, their favorite game or games. And the reason I went ahead and put both of these channels up is because I want this creator and anyone else to understand as well. It's super, super important when you're trying to learn YouTube to take a step back and just focus on one thing for a bit. And I do mean one audience. You want to focus on one specific audience so you can learn all of the things you need to learn. But in this case, I mean one thing. There's 2 different channels about 2 totally different things. And I love the ambition. I think this is amazing. But I think you would find a lot more success if you were to temporarily put one of these channels on hold, which is very specific advice for this person, and it's probably not something they want to hear. But if it were me and I, had other stuff going on, whether it was school or work or wherever it was, I couldn't have these two channels running simultaneously. When I with my strategy personally, when I have multiple channels, I'm usually just testing stuff. I'm not taking any one channel super serious. I'm just trying things out. And if you hear us talking about having multiple channels, it's just because we have very specific plans and intentions and goals for those channels. But to me, this is like you're trying to do two different shots right now. You're trying to take two shots at once. You're trying to say, all right, one of these channels is going to take off. I'm going to double my chances by having two different channels. And then whichever one does better, maybe I'll focus on that. But right now, neither of these, based on what I'm seeing with the titles and the thumbnails and how long you've been uploading, neither of these feel set up for success. And part of me wants to blame the fact that you have two channels. But that's my soapbox speech there, Jeff. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think if anything, and now mind you, just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with having multiple channels.
Right.
I think more than anything else, I'm in agreement with Dan that I really think we should really focus in on really dialing in, getting it really working in a sustainable model on one, before trying to apply that to a different niche and a second channel. Unless you have a ton of free time and your content is super, super easy to make and you can really kind of go with it that route, then hey, more power to you. But normally this is what I recommend to people, is to be patient with this because it takes time, and I know everybody wants to get there super quick.
Yep.
If you want to build something sustainable, it's not built in a day. And that's really what it comes down to. So, I strongly recommend really, really focusing in on one of these channels and getting that one to where you want it to be, before really moving into a second or even a third channel. That's at least my best bit of advice, is to really dial that in for one, and then you can start applying it to others. Because that's a mistake I've seen so many times, is that people, they want to grow their stuff and they'll try to do it on 2, 3, 4 channels at the same time. And it's like, no, you need to learn how this system works. You need to learn what works for your particular viewers on one channel. And then once you have that down, then apply that to other channels. So instead of trying to experiment on multiple channels at the same time, it's just, to me, it just kind of doesn't work. But yeah, that's the best that I can say as far as that goes.
I already like to think of YouTube as a place that offers us 4 unique channels in the first place within one channel. And what I mean is, you have videos, you have shorts, you have the community tab, and you also have live streams. Now, all of those things on one YouTube channel should relate to the same audience, because YouTube is going to take the people who are watching your channel and use them as the test pilots first. Whenever you do something new, YouTube's going to test the content on the people who are already following you, whether they've subscribed or not, if they just watch you regularly. So when I say you have 4 different channels in one, I don't mean you should do shorts about vlog and lifestyle on your shorts, but then gaming on your video tab. That doesn't, again, we want it to be a similar audience, but 4 different places to experiment with gaining subscribers, gaining traction, gaining clout, reach, whatever it is you're after. You have all these different ways on YouTube right now, and it's just getting better. They're just giving us more and more tools. So one channel can really be the hub for everything that is you. But at the end of the day, you still want some focus. You still want to, as just a person, I don't mean for your channel, literally as a person, you want to be focused on your goals. And right now, you're running 2 entirely different channels. And if this is me, I look at YouTube channels as a business, right? Whether or not I'm trying to use it to profit, I try and literally approach any YouTube endeavor I do as a business, because it's going to help me make more clear-headed decisions. And you can literally run an entire company. You can get to a point on YouTube where you're making money and you can hire employees and you can run an entire company off one single YouTube channel. But in order to do that, in order to reach those heights, you've got to be focused. You can't just have 10, 12 channels and that have these super focused strategies. And I'm hitting this in from all these different angles, because you're here, you're asking us, vidIQ, what can I do? What can I do to grow? And we want to give you everything you possibly can have in order to do that. And in your case, because these channels are running so parallel to each other, it feels like that's the most appropriate advice here, is why don't we figure out the strategy and figure out some success on one of these first before we start jumping into another. Because that helped me. Like, just getting one channel down taught me so much that I felt confident in all the other future endeavors that I went for.
Yep. Completely agree.
So that was Geekspace / Brothers Fleming Gaming. Best of luck to you. Thank you for your submissions. Next up, Jeff, I believe you picked this one. It's Raw Living with Disabilities.
Yep, they submitted definitely early on today, so I figured we would give them a look. So let's see here. So one thing that I believe, at least from this channel, at least from what I got from the banner, was that they're walking us through their journey, sharing my long medical adventure with the different conditions that they have. So firstly, I just want to commend you for being brave enough to put this out there, because living with disabilities is very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very painful. It's a very personal thing that a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people keep this very, very private. So it takes a special kind of person, firstly, to even put your face on YouTube, but to also talk about something that's so personal. I have to commend you for that, which is another reason why I wanted to kind of take a look at the channel and see in what ways we could help. And one of the first things that I noticed, at least just surface level, is I can tell that you're doing a lot of work on your thumbnails and you're experimenting with different things, but there is kind of no cohesiveness to them right now. I like what you've done with the last two, because you've done explaining to my kids. You're keeping the text simple, lost my voice. You're keeping the text simple, except you also have, but I have OT, something like that. So I would say continue to focus on how you can, if you're going to use text in the thumbnails, how you can keep it minimal, right? Mm-hmm. So less than 5 words, 3 words. If you can do it in 3 words, better. If you can do it in 1 word, even better. But try to keep it less than 5, obviously, and keep it legible. Secondly, I'm also noticing that you don't put yourself in your thumbnails, which is an interesting choice. And that could be a personal choice. Maybe you don't want to have yourself there, but being that this is your story and your journey and you're on camera in the videos, then it might make sense for you to be in these thumbnails. It may be something where I would try this. So when you do decide to make some, your next thumbnail for your next video, I want you to think about that. How can I make a thumbnail kind of like the style that I'm doing now? But then how can I do one that's completely different, that actually includes me in it, to try to convey that story or to give somebody something to connect with? So I want you to have both versions of a thumbnail. And this is something that goes for everyone in the chat. You should be making multiple thumbnails for each video. You shouldn't be just making the one and then hoping for the best. You should have multiple options available to you. In case one doesn't work well, you can try a second one. So, but that'd be the first thing, is just really dialing in the thumbnail design on this stuff, because some of it's just a little bit all over the place. Each of these looks like it could be on a different channel. Yeah. So that's one of the things where I would start trying to, one, pick a font and stick with it, right? Pick a font and stick with it. If you have a color scheme, decide it. If it's that pale yellow, whatever it might be, stick with it. So that's the one thing, like, because there's a different font in almost every single thumbnail. If you're looking at it right here, I walk, but use a wheelchair, and then here's why, in a different font. It's just, they're a little bit wordy. So I'm hoping that we can kind of dial this back a bit to sort of make it easier. I don't want to have to sit here and read a whole thing when I look at a thumbnail. I want to be able to understand it immediately. So that'd be my first piece of advice there. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, when you were talking about it, it's because my first impression of this channel, without clicking in any of the videos, is that you're trying to give a lot of different helpful advice to people who have like a lot of different questions about various like disabilities and things like that. And the way you're talking about it, you're saying this is more of a storytelling kind of channel. This is someone's journey that they are taking people on. And when you just take a look at all of their videos on this page, you're not really getting that. It's not coming across. To me, it feels like you are making what are like generally specific like titles and thumbnails that are about a specific topic, but that element that's missing is you, like that, like the story and the chronological timeline that you're kind of taking people through, and because it is like that kind of channel, and you've kind of gone this direction with titles and thumbnails, there's a disconnect there. So hopefully that's something that you can work towards so that people can better understand who this channel's for.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things where I hope, and again, this is for Raw Living with Disabilities and for everyone else in the chat. I would assume that, now I could be wrong, but I would assume that perhaps you got inspired to do this because you've watched other channels do something similar. And if you have, then I would definitely be doing a bit of thumbnail research. And this is why I always try to tell people you should be making your titles and your thumbnails before you even record your video, right? So the first step, when I have an idea for a video, my first step is to look up that idea, essentially, or whatever that title might be. Look it up, whatever those keywords are. Look it up and see what kind of videos are out there, what those thumbnails design look like, not to copy them, but to get inspiration about what's actually getting people to click. Does 4 of the 5 thumbnails that come up in ranking search have their face in it? That's a clue, right? Or is it just a shot of a piece of cake? That's a clue. Is it just a car with no text? That's a clue. So you start getting ideas of what the viewers of these types of channels are actually willing to click on. And if they connect with people, then that could be what you want to do. So a bit of that kind of like thumbnail research can really give you better ideas on what could work. It's not easy and it takes time to develop those types of skills. But I think you can definitely do it. Just little minor tweaks here, I think can go a long way with what you're doing. And you're already at 95 subs. You're about to cross over that 100 subscriber mark. So I'm going to give you an early congratulations. But I really have high hopes for what you're doing. They're also doing shorts as well, which is nice. Hopefully that's a little bit lowers the barrier of difficulty for trying to do content. Because what we're talking about here, Dan, is somebody who's living with a lot of daily things, you know what I mean? Family, children, trying to be a mother, but also a content creator. There's so many things on your plate. So, hopefully doing shorts can kind of remove some of that difficulty from it. So you don't have to worry about thumbnails as much, even though there's options for thumbnails now on shorts and stuff, but shorts aren't really shown to people that way. So I really wouldn't sweat, thumbnails on this kind of stuff. But I really have high hopes for what you're doing. And I really want to encourage you to kind of, take it at your pace. Don't put pressure on yourself. I have to get a video up this week, or I have to get 2 videos up this week. Don't do that. Take it at your own pace, because, I was married to a person with disabilities. You have to take it at your own pace. You have to be kind to yourself. You have to be patient with yourself. So, last thing I want for you to do is like to push yourself too hard to like make sure you're getting videos out every week. Just take things at your own pace and try not to pressure yourself too much.
Mm-hmm. All right. We will move on to the next channel in just a moment. But first, I wanted to let you guys know, just a quick reminder. We haven't talked about this in a while. vidIQ has its very own public Discord server. So it did cover my face right now, but this was just a screenshot I took earlier from our thumbnail channel in that Discord. As you can see on the left there, we have a whole bunch of different channels, and this server is full of thousands of creators just like yourselves at various parts of their journeys, all just hanging out, talking about YouTube. So if you're feeling like you could use some friends, some YouTube pals to discuss various things like your analytics or thumbnails or things like that, definitely check it out. vidiq.com/Discord is a nice, easy way to get there. There's also a link in the description. Don't worry that it looks a little bit different. It's just Discord's own link. So you can use either link. It'll bring you to the same exact place. And when you get there, this is not a Discord for going out and trying to get people to watch your content. In fact, that's exactly how you get kicked off our Discord server. What that is for collaborating with other fellow creators and learning from them and maybe giving advice or getting some advice on something that you are wondering about with YouTube. So it's just a supportive, awesome community of YouTube creators hanging out together. There it is, vidiq.com/Discord under new community management. So
yeah, say hi to Vicky when you're in there. She's our new community manager. She's been at it for a few weeks now. She is awesome. So don't be mean to her. I know a lot of you guys like to troll and have fun and mess around. Be nice to Vicky. She's super cool and she's super helpful.
Vicky wields the largest of band hammers now, so yes, you should probably be nice. I
should have probably led with that.
I've let Vicky know that the band hammer may be swung hard and fast. It's up to you. So everyone be nice. Okay, so that is just our Discord server. Wanted to point that out real quick. Link down below. Chris Savva, I believe. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Almost at 500 subscribers here on YouTube, and they are. Oh, they don't have a channel banner. I scrolled up and it's not there. They are without channel banner. So, you know, if anyone wants to donate to the cause here, we're trying to get Chris Savva a channel banner as promptly as possible. You can donate by calling 555 channel banner.
That's right.
No, that's up to you. I do think you should have one, though. It just helps give people a little more context who are jumping on your channel. And real quick, on channels in general, like, man, the homepage is already done up for you, which is great. You've done a good job by putting a trailer that autoplays as soon as we click in there. And it's not a video that's like, hey, this is my channel, here's what it's about. Instead, you just chose a video that I assume is one you feel strongly about and gives a good representation of what people will get on this channel. So people use this more than you think. And I'm bringing this up because we've talked about it in recent videos as well. It turns out this subscribe button right here is the one people click the most. Out of all the different subscribe buttons that could be on your channel for people to find and click, this is actually the one people finally click on the most. And it's because before they decide to subscribe, people are coming to see what you're all about. This is why we do these channel audits, because we want you to focus your channels on a specific audience, which Chris is doing. So having a channel banner in this case, I think, is going to be really important because you might be missing out on some subscribers there. Going back to videos, though. There's a lot of very interesting things. Watching Christmas movies till I stop cringing. The truth about Twitter, it sucks and always has. That video almost got 1,000 views.
I love the title.
Yep.
I love the title.
This horror movie will make you scream. NVIDIA cancels the 4080. So what we're seeing here is a commentary channel in my view. This is somebody who is going to just have a channel where they're giving their thoughts and opinions on whatever it is they feel like talking about at that time.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting too, which is like cool, but I don't think we're thinking about a target audience here, and that to me is troubling. Because it's like, this is about this, like, you know, I'm going to talk about this today, I'm going to talk about that today, which is totally fine, but, and not to say that you can't grow, because you can grow a channel like this. Yes. But I think you could be slowing down your own growth. You could be hindering yourself by aiming at so many different people. It's sort of a scattershot approach to doing YouTube. And here's the funny part, right? We don't know that, right? Just inherently, we're not aware of that. How many times I've actually had to explain this? Literally thousands of times. So, but that could be something that I would want Chris to start doing, is to start thinking about, who do I want to target? And let's say that they don't want to just be about one thing. Cool. Right. Then how can we find multiple target viewers that are very similar in their interests, right? Yes. So like somebody who's into Star Wars, there's a really good chance that they're also into comic books. You know what I mean? So there's ways that you can find parallel things that can work together, even though they're not the same exact thing. There's ways that you can narrow it down. So instead of being about 7, 8, 9, 10 different topics, you can narrow it down to 2 or 3. So just something that I would want them to kind of think about, and also, you know, that channel banner, you know. Sorry.
I was just about to talk. You said that, and it was just enough to get me to choke.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with everything you said, and I feel like there's a direction that we can give this creator, and any creator out there who feels like, I want a commentary channel where I just talk about whatever I want. You can have that, and I want to point out one example before I go into this advice. Drew Gooden, very popular commentary channel.
Hey guy, remember a couple.
And you'll notice on this channel, covering a wide array of topics. It's just Drew giving his funny takes on whatever it is he wants to talk about. And you know, the titles and thumbnails are good, but they're nothing like crazy. They're not like, I can't point to any one specific one. Go see the detailed strategy here. Drew knows his audience. That's all this comes down to. Drew has a very clear understanding of the type of person who watches his content. I think in order to get here to the point where you can be getting millions of views talking about whatever fun thing you want to talk about, you have to first earn that a little bit. It's all about doing this enough to kind of earn that credibility and build your audience any way you can, right? The idea is you become popular talking about a specific type of subject. And you already have some really good examples on this page, but let me just click popular before I miss anything. There's a couple here that don't really work for my example. Like these don't. Let's see, this one in particular, Rush Hour. This just feels like a movie clip, and I would get rid of it. Honestly, it's 15 years old. It might be bringing in the wrong audience. I would unlist this. But starting here, 2 years ago, you have one with almost 10,000 views. Guide to Wasting Money, Wish.com. This seems like a very like controversial kind of opinion. This is something that I think is going to get people interested in your content. And this is similar to the video I saw here and here on your more recent uploads. Why Google Stadia failed and the truth about Twitter. Maybe the direction you go is talking about different tech companies and websites and giving your hot takes on them. Because these videos did really well compared to all the ones around them. Maybe also the Super Mario Bros. Movie is one you could kind of slot in there because it's at 800 views right now, but it's 2 months old. I think that's the way to go, right? And so what you do is you establish yourself by talking about these similar types of topics for a while. You just go at these videos. This is what's working, so double down on it. You branch out a little more slowly. So you start talking about things like the Mario movie and things like that once you've kind of built more of an audience. Because once people get to know you, I mean, and by the way, like this creator, like they have an awesome setup. They have good lighting. I mean, let's
the boomers or blonde white women. Sometimes they cater towards the
really good sound quality. So this channel has a lot of those, a lot of those ingredients in place, and they're putting themselves out there. So I think people, as you make these types of videos, are going to learn a lot about you, and that will be your license. That'll be the point in which you can start to branch out a little bit more, and they'll want your opinions on things that are happening. But those things should always be approachable topics. You just don't want to do anything that's just too niche. And I almost wonder if the NVIDIA one was too niche. Like, this is very specific to people who are like build PCs and care about this sort of thing.
Yeah. More tech channel content, than anything else. So,
but the Mario movie is like a huge cultural thing. You know, everyone, even if you don't like Mario or movies for some reason, you know what that is. But a lot of people see GTX, 4080 or whatever it is now, and they're probably like, nerd stuff. It's a very specific audience that's for.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just kind of going different directions. So that's I think that's probably the best bit of advice that we could give is really start thinking about who you want to target and start really kind of getting after those specific people. But yeah, no, totally agree, man.
And you could even, like, I just thought of another example too. You could make similar content to what you're making, but it's pitching it different too. So the latest video is stop watching Christmas movies until I stop cringing. Funny title. I think the thumbnail's fine. But what if instead of the kind of ambiguous like Christmas movies as a title, it was Netflix has the worst Christmas movies? Like something specific that everybody's heard of before, Netflix, and then something else that everyone's heard of, Christmas movies, and now your controversial take that they have the worst ones. So I don't know if that's what your video is about. Maybe you pointed out movies on all the kinds of different platforms, but you could say streaming services have terrible Christmas movies, and then you could have like Netflix and Hulu's logo and something else. Like there's different ways you can approach this to try and make it approachable for a wider audience. And that's what you need to be doing right now, is trying to focus on these things like Twitter and Stadia, things we've all heard of before, this is going to widen your scope, and you'll start to understand what's working and what's not. And from there, as you keep learning, you'll be able to branch out and talk about all kinds of different topics. That's my advice for commentary channels at large. Yeah,
for sure.
All right. So we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be Barry Johnson. I believe you picked this one, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's always nice to bring up a tech channel into the mix, because we get a lot of different variety of channels. So I always like to bring one in whenever possible. Barry, so congrats on the 2,000 subs. So what we're doing here from the looks of it is I'm seeing engineer reacts. So what I'm thinking here is an engineer, like maybe he's an actual engineer, and he's talking about different tech products, or maybe not necessarily reacting to them, not 100% sure, but that is something that I'm kind of seeing here. But we're seeing a lot of phones. We see Pixel content, OnePlus. There's even some cases. So we're doing some mobile phone accessories. So from what I'm seeing, and I'm hoping that you're getting this as well, is mobile phones and accessories. Yes. As the tech channel focus.
Yep.
Yeah. And some experimentation on thumbnails too.
Oh my gosh. There's nothing straying away from that concept on this channel. And my goodness, like the work they've done on their thumbnails, even their older ones from 9 months ago, are really nice. But I feel like they've only continued to improve.
Yeah.
They were already at a high standard, and then here they are today, even sharper, even cleaner, even nicer. Just really, really, really nice thumbnails.
Good eye for the photography on this stuff. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing as far as that goes, and view counts are actually quite healthy on this stuff as well. So overall, I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. One thing that a little bit of a concern, now you tell me what you think. We have engineer reacts in every single title. Do you think that's necessary?
No, but I would test it. Try 2 or 3 videos where you don't have that in the title. Same exact concept for the video in every single way. It should be clear when people click what's happening in the video already. I know it doesn't say that in your channel name. Barry Johnson, engineer, reacting to things, you know, extraordinaire. Nothing like that. I just don't think you necessarily need that. I think in terms of review videos, you could almost consider any review video a reaction.
Well, technically speaking, yeah. I mean,
yeah. So especially, you might be selling yourself short. I haven't seen any of these videos. Maybe you have, Jeff, but I would hate to sell this as a reaction video, and because it sounds so surface level. Reactions just sound really surface level. But if you're diving deep in this, like it sounds like your titles are, Pixel 7 Pro Cinema Blur and 30x zoom is insane. And look at the setup here. Like, this doesn't feel like a reaction. This feels
and
like
the sound quality is excellent. You should hear it.
In-depth review.
Connecting to the mobile network because this has a physical SIM slot, unlike the iPhone 14. So I'm just going to grab my Pixel 6 Pro later and simply transfer the SIM card. Novel concept, right?
I mean, everything about this seems way, way more like way bigger than just a reaction. When I think of reaction channels, I think of somebody taking something they've seen for the first time or held for the first time and giving a very surface level overview for the sake of maybe making you laugh or just trying to share their first impressions of something. That's not what you're doing here. This is way more in depth, and just the word reacts, I think, is selling yourself short. I'm serious. I would definitely consider getting rid of that. I'm glad I didn't even notice it. I'm glad you pointed it out.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I was kind of wondering about, because if there's reactions, then I would totally get that. But I think maybe we might have to, that might be something to remove unless that's a core element of the content. But yeah, I mean, it could just be what it is, because that kind of reaction, even though kind of it can be technically, it can be a bit confusing as far as messaging goes. So, but yeah, no, I totally agree with that, man. But overall, I do like what I'm seeing here. I mean, obviously from the snippet that we saw, the production quality is high. Multicam, excellent mic qualities using a Shure SM7 from what I saw. So the stuff looks good, man. Overall, I like what I'm seeing. Yeah, the things look good, man. I mean, very, very clean on the thumbnails. So yeah, excellent, man. So overall, I really like what we're seeing here.
I want to point out one thing.
I'll skip.
So tomorrow we do video reviews. We do channel reviews today, video reviews tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna be doing stuff like what I'm about to do right now, where you click into a video and we talk about your intro. We talk about different things that maybe could use some improvement. And the one thing that I found jarring when I clicked on this video is I thought I started halfway through. It's because technically I kind of did, because they did a cold open. So I'm at 0 seconds right now, and just listen to this for a moment.
I'll skip connecting to the mobile network because this has a physical SIM slot, unlike the iPhone 14. So I'm just going to grab my Pixel 6 Pro.
So the production quality, sound quality, all that stuff, I agree. Fantastic. No notes. But if we were doing video reviews, I would say that your intro starts off a bit jarring. And I think the cold open, where you take like a section of the middle of your video as a coming up and put at the beginning, works for certain niches. I don't know if it necessarily works for this one, or if it does, I don't think it works in the same way for this particular video. So the video is called, Pixel 7 Pro Cinematic Blur and 30x Zoom is Insane, which sounds very camera centric. But the first thing I see when I click on the video is you talking about your network settings. So to me, that's also a bit of a disconnect here. I'm not getting what I clicked on, and it's once we get through this very quick kind of cold open and we see your logo come up, that's when I got the light bulb of like, oh, okay, this was just an opening. That was like coming up later in the video. So I'm talking about this part right here where we see your logo. And I imagine
one thing that I have to point out right off the bat is Tensor is a great chip, and
so now we're kind of into the actual video, but very confused when I first clicked on it, Jeff.
Yeah.
Still fantastic. I mean, this is so good in terms of titles, thumbnails, production quality. You know, only a matter of time before this channel is easily getting tens of thousands of views per upload.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially with what they're talking about, the topics, because the thing with mobile phones is that technically they do ride trends in and of themselves. As phones are being announced, as rumors start to come out, as a phone is actually released, they ride their own trend. So, and then, you know, once you get them, you can do the ancillary topics like, here's my accessories for it. Here's my screen protectors. Here's my phone cases. Here's my stylus, or here's my setup. You know, here's my different apps that I'm running on here. What's my home screen look like? So you can do a lot of content in and around these devices as well. So yeah, man, I have high hopes for Barry Johnson's channel.
Me as well. Before we get to the next channel, we got a whole bunch of super chats today. Now, super chats are not for getting channel audits or anything like that. They're simply, you know, open to you guys if you feel like supporting all the free content we make here on YouTube all the time. Thank you so much. And when we get those, we try to call them out if we have time in the live stream, of course, and we do right now. So the first one is from History Haunts, who says, I'm mainly a shorts creator, but my long form videos are 2 to 3 minutes long. Struggling with watch time for monetization. Any tips? Thank you for your super chat. So this is something everyone should know about shorts in February. That's about the time YouTube is going to start allowing people to earn revenue off of their shorts, ad revenue. Currently, you cannot. Currently, the only way to make money off shorts is from the YouTube Shorts Creator Fund, which is kind of hit or miss. You got to get a lot of views to even hope to get a check from them. So that's all about to change very soon. So everyone in the short space is scrambling to try and figure out, how do I get monetized? And YouTube has said, oh, that's easy. All you need is 1,000 subscribers and 10 million views in 90 days. On shorts.
Only
10 million views in 90 days. Easy peasy. But if you don't want to go that route, you can still go the traditional route of 1,000 subscribers and just 4,000 hours of watch time on your long form videos. So if you are making videos that are 2 to 3 minutes long and you're struggling with that watch time, I'm going to say in this case, it's not much to do with the fact that your videos are 2 to 3 minutes long, in my opinion. If you're struggling with watch time, it tells me you're probably struggling getting some views in the first place. So I would continue just going down the general YouTube advice path. I think 2 to 3 minutes is a great length for kind of starting on YouTube, because they're short enough to where you can edit these a little bit quickly and you can test out a lot of different things. Of course, longer videos does mean longer watch time, but if you're struggling to get people to watch the 2 to 3 minute videos in the first place, let's figure that out first, in my opinion. The other bit of advice, though, I would say is make your videos no longer shorter than they need to be. You know, so if a video calls for 5 minutes, make it 5 minutes. That's fine.
Live stream.
Yeah, live streaming is another way. A lot of people recommend, if you're a shorts creator but you're trying to get monetized, jump to live streaming. You know, live stream once a week, a couple times a week. Those live streams will stay up. You'll get views during, you'll get views after. That watch time will all count towards YouTube monetization goals.
Yeah. My suggestion with live streaming is to come up with a day and time that works for you, and be consistent with that. If nothing else, because people, when it's live, people will create a habit around it because they want to interact with you, right? So if you can do that, let's say I'm going to go live Friday evenings at 6 p.m. or whatever, you know, that way people can watch you while they're eating dinner, whatever it might be, however you want to choose it. But do that on a regular basis. And at first, it's going to be difficult. Just being very straight up with you, at first, you're not going to have a lot of viewers. But if you stay consistent with it, I've done my live show for over a year. When I first started, I was getting, you know, maybe 40, 50 concurrent. Now it can be anywhere between 175 to 300 concurrents. And that's because I've been consistent with it. People have built their habits around it. So, but the beauty of it is, even if you're only getting 5 or 10 people, you do a live stream for an hour. For 5 people, that's 5 watch hours. So just think about it. That's not exactly how it works. The math obviously is a little bit different, but just to give you a concept of how that works, right? So it's definitely something you can do and have it work in your favor. So I'm looking forward to it, man. History Haunts, I love spooky content. So yeah, should be dope.
Pay attention, by the way, to the next channel that we audit. Just History Haunts. Just a quick note there. Data is king. What's the best way to present a video that is part of a playlist to a viewer that is watching the content for the first time? Interesting question. What I would do is at the end of that video, I would let people know that, there's another video just like the one they watched, meaning that it's just like it in the sense that it would apply to the same person. The same person would enjoy watching it, and I would link to it. The fact that it's a playlist, you could link to the whole playlist if you want, and some people do that. But I like linking to specific videos because I can be then very specific in my call to action as to why I'm linking to that video. The fact that they're in a playlist is just helpful to the viewers. YouTube is doing more with playlists all of a sudden. I don't know if you noticed this, Jeff, but they've moved playlists now in the dashboard, and I'm noticing them kind of pop up in different ways. So stay tuned because we'll have to investigate a little bit more. There's probably something going on with playlists that we'll want to see if YouTube is starting to categorize them differently. But for now, I would just focus on, if a video is in a playlist, let that just be helpful to people who want it. But if people aren't generally trying to figure out, oh, is this in a playlist? That playlists aren't necessarily on people's minds, in my personal opinion.
I think people will stumble into them, if anything. Like one experiment that I did was have a playlist where it always every time I upload a new video, new stream, whatever it might be, I put that into that playlist. And I put that playlist as the end screen. So instead of choosing one video, I chose a playlist as the end screen, just one. And it has normally the latest video. Or if you have topical playlists, so let's say my video right now that I'm talking is about something that's under $100, I'm going to have a playlist of all the other products that are under $100 in that same segment. And I can say, hey, if you're interested in more products that are under $100, check out the video right here. I'm not going to say check out the playlist right here because that's going to tell them, hey, that's a time investment. Check out the video right here. And then they get into a playlist. It could take them to the next video if that's what they're interested in. But that's the way that I would go about doing it. It worked quite well for me for a while, at least until YouTube created their own playlist of my stuff, Mix El Jefe Reviews. Yeah. That's my #1 playlist now, which is awesome. Yeah. Thank you, YouTube, for doing that for me.
Yeah, I have that too. It's pretty great. So a little bit of info on playlists there. We'll have to keep investigating, seeing what YouTube's up to with that. Next one here from Stevie Loves Horror, another horror channel. The horror channels need to pay attention in the next channel audit we do. But I'm a little worried about YouTube focusing on shorts too much in 2023. I upload shorts occasionally, but I prefer long form content. Watching and sharing. What are your thoughts on this prediction? Jeff, I think the future is now, is kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. Right, YouTube, they're focusing on shorts. No, they're paying attention to it because they're trying to make sure they bring that in. But YouTube's strategy is to be the one place for all of your content. Yeah. Podcast, live streaming. They're really, if you're not paying attention, they are strengthening live streaming and the features, the chat, to try to build community, to get parity or make it better than what's on Twitch, right? They're trying to make sure it's better than what's on TikTok. Yeah. So they're trying to become all encompassing. And I wouldn't worry about them putting too much emphasis on shorts, like long form videos are going to stop getting views. No, they're not. No, they're not. Right. Because there's a huge audience, massive audience that want long form videos. So I really wouldn't sweat that. But I'm also of the mindset of, I don't worry about things that I can't control. We have no control over that. Yeah. So don't worry about it. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on bringing value to your viewers with your long form content, and don't worry about what YouTube is doing with shorts.
Shorts are an opportunity.
That's
how you need to look at this. The long form viewers are not necessarily going anywhere. Some of us long form viewers may watch shorts occasionally, but we didn't have the option before, so we're just happy they're there. But there'll always be, it seems on YouTube, a need or at least a place for long form videos. There's definitely something to be said for people's attention spans changing and people just being more interested in vertical short form content. But we only know this because someone else offered it. Someone else got there first. Someone else offered a really great platform for it. And a lot of creators, very young creators especially, jumped all over it and managed to create something amazing that wasn't there before. Shorts is just an opportunity. It's an opportunity for YouTube to try and cater to those creators, people passionate about making vertical short form videos. And it's an opportunity for them and for you to get viewers that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten. Because think about this in the opposite perspective. There are now views on the table that were not there before. Because there are people who were not watching your videos because they preferred just those quick little dopamine hits. And YouTube has now started offering those. So if you don't like shorts, don't make shorts. It's an opportunity you do not have to capitalize on if you don't want it. If you don't like live streams, you don't have to live stream. And shorts is the exact same thing. There's a lot of people here who are watching a live stream right now, but they themselves do not like live streaming, but they probably appreciate that YouTube has the feature because they're watching this and gaining some value from it right now, hopefully. Same thing with shorts. You can go watch shorts all you want. If you don't like making them, don't make them. You don't have to make them. There's still opportunities for you in the long form space, but now there's opportunities for so many more creators in the short form space that weren't there before, which is amazing.
Yeah, it democratized making content, and it's a massive opportunity. If you don't want to take advantage of it, no biggie, because you can still take advantage of the opportunity of making regular videos or making live streams or podcasting or making short form videos. You have so many opportunities in 2022 going to 2023 that the future is bright. If anything, I wouldn't be worried. I'd be excited. Yeah.
So best of luck. We'll do one more. There's a whole bunch of super chats here. We want to thank you. Let's do one more before we get back into reviewing some channels. Superflat says, out of curiosity, what are some of the things you guys need to work on or aiming to improve on your channels? Thanks for the videos and streams. Really help out. Oh, good question.
That's actually a really good question.
I like talking about me, but you start.
Sure. I mean, as far as myself, the things that I'm working on improving on my own channel is, one, most important than anything else is really drilling down on specific use cases for my target viewer. So making videos, making content and streams that are directly aimed at a specific need that they have. More so than just, I'm going to review this headphone, but more so of what is the best headphone for your particular use case, right? So that, secondarily, still working on improving my own audience retention. So that's something that I'm myself working on. So I have to make sure I take care of that.
I would say for the vidIQ channel, right now, one of the things we're working on is just trying to follow more trends in our space. There's a lot of opportunities. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a lot of opportunities for us to kind of jump on different trends as they relate to creators at large and trying to help creators grow their channels, start businesses, things like that. So for the vidIQ channel, we're definitely looking at some of that. For my own personal endeavors, my own personal channels that are just kind of here, there, and everywhere. This year in particular, I've been trying to figure out the best way to take a channel that was about one thing and pivot the channel, and in particular games. How can I take a channel about one game and then say, okay, this channel's grown to X amount. I want to take my clout that I've built up and start to play other things. This is advice I give creators all the time that have gaming channels. Play one game, right? For me, it's always been play one game, play one game, play one game. And I've known of plenty of channels that do multiple games, and I understand how they got there, but I've always wondered for myself, how do I get there? Like, what's my way of branching out? And so this year in particular, I've been experimenting a lot with that, learning a ton, and trying to get all of my thoughts compiled into one video that I want to release in January about gaming channels. So yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit of what I'm working on.
Yeah, good answer, man. But yeah, let's move on, man. What time is it?
It's that time again. It's time to do another pre-selected channel. Hooray! we didn't I know we're at the top of the hour, but we didn't get to this one yet. So this is why I kept telling horror channels to pay attention, because you and I both picked this one.
Yeah.
This is Blood Moon Paranormal with almost 2,000 subscribers. They're doing paranormal content.
Yeah, paranormal investigations.
Yes, documentaries about paranormal investigations. So I'm going to let you start. I have a very specific example I want to pull up for them, and I will let you begin.
Let's see here. So just looking at it from this perspective, first we're going to start with the banner, and I like the banner. It looks cool, branding wise. It looks cool, but one thing that I would have loved to see there, as opposed to just your name, because it says Blood Moon Paranormal, then your name Blood Moon Paranormal, then at Blood Moon Paranormal. So it's a lot, right? We've got your name like 4 or 5 times just there. If anything, the banner, you should tell me what you're going to give me in less than 5 words. What are you giving me as a viewer, right? Are these live investigations? Are you giving me documentaries? Are we doing listicles? What are we doing? So basically, let me know as a viewer what it is that this channel and your content is going to give me as a viewer, right? So that's the thing that I want to be clear, if anything there. But secondarily, I like what they're doing with the thumbnails, but the one thing that sort of bugs me a little bit. So here's the thing. The one furthest on the right, Overnight at the Conjuring House. I like it. I can tell what it says. Now, the 2 previous ones are also The Conjuring, but it's black text on red background, and it makes it hard to tell what is there. So I probably would avoid that color combination because it makes it difficult to read. And it looks cool aesthetically speaking, but if it makes it hard to read, it's going to be hard to kind of really tell what's sort of going on. And I think a small little subtle change there could really, really help in clarifying exactly what's happening. And mind you, it doesn't have to. I know we want to use red for this type of stuff, but if it makes the text illegible, then it's not helping you in any way. So either the text needs to be white or the background needs to be white. One or the other, but the black on red is just making it difficult to read. So I really want you to rethink that, because it may look cool color scheme wise, but if it's illegible, it's not doing you any favors.
Mm-hmm. So I have a couple things. I agree with all of that for sure. And this is definitely the best thumbnail I think they have out of their recent content. It's just so simple. And
totally.
It draws
or
you in.
the latest one too, the Bell Mansion one. It's so easy to just instantly know what it says.
Yes. I think thumbnails need some work, but titles need a lot of work in my opinion here. And I say that because they're simple. We like short titles, but the problem is I think your content could have a broader appeal. You want to start trying to get people who may not know some of the names of movies or people that you know. So Homer Van Meter. That's a name I've never heard before. But maybe maybe I would be interested in this content. So can you frame this in a different way? Instead of using the person's name in the title, you have it in the description and stuff for SEO purposes, but instead of using the person's name in the title, is there another way to pitch this video so someone like me who's not familiar with the story would be interested in clicking? Because when you think about documentary style content, which is what they said they do on their form that they submitted to us, when you think about documentaries, they're meant to do what? They're meant to teach you about something you did not know about before. One of my favorite ones right now is Pepsi, Where's My Jet? It's on Netflix, and it's fantastic.
Such a good story, too.
I'm recommending it because it's the first time in recent history I've watched a documentary where nobody got brutally hurt in any kind of way. It's just a fun story.
Only the feelings got hurt, right?
Only people's feels got hurt, which is great. So I'm recommending that one just as a side note. But I know what Pepsi is, and then the rest of the title is just intriguing from there. Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Like, what's this? And then I'm more inclined to watch the trailer and things like that. So in the case of like, who is Homer Van Meter? Can you tell me a little bit about who this person is in the title or the thumbnail? That would intrigue me enough to want to know what this person's name is, because I don't know this name, and my gut reaction to this is, oh, I don't care. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean. It's just literally as I'm scrolling through YouTube, if this were to pop up, I wouldn't have any context for it at all. But your videos are supposed to teach me about the things that I know nothing about. So try to frame these in a way that could, be approachable from someone's perspective who has not, heard of what you're talking about before. The Conjuring is a different thing. Huge movie. So The Conjuring, Overnight at the Conjuring House, is a very specific title, very specific, thumbnail. You did great. Has almost 800 views. Like, it's no wonder this video did so much better than the other ones, because people know what it is. You've touched on a property that people know what it's about. But some of these other ones are just too niche. So
the title for this last one should have been similar to the Overnight at the Conjuring House, because they have Overnight at a Haunted Mansion and then / Bell Mansion something else, right? What does it say? Bell Mansion Investigation. Okay, cool, right? But it should have been Overnight at the Haunted Bell Mansion or Overnight in the Bell Mansion. It should have been something a little bit clearer and cleaner, similar to the one that they did for the Overnight. So when you stumble upon a title structure that really kicks, don't be afraid to reuse it, especially if it's on a different location or we're telling a different story. So, but yeah, I think that really could have worked wonders in their favor. And I don't think they needed to have Blood Moon Paranormal in the thumbnail on that one. It's clean. It lets me know Bell Mansion, but I don't think you don't really need your channel name there.
Right. Your channel name is another thing that no one knows. Let them learn that over time as they watch your videos. And then I noticed what looks like a podcast here, Graveyard Shift Season 3, Episode 11. Like, get rid of Season 3, Episode 11, first of all. And it can be the Graveyard Shift, but let people find that out when they get into the video. What is this about? It's just about a cemetery, but what specifically do you talk about in this video? Like, I see this all the time with podcasts, especially. People will just kind of title it podcast, episode number, season number. And they don't they don't talk about what it is. It's just and the title looks exactly the same across all their videos.
It's a file name title, and that's
yes.
lazy, for lack of a better word. And I hope I'm not insulting them with this, but it's lazy in my opinion, because look at the view count, right? You didn't do yourself any favors. One, we've got too much text on the thumbnail, and you also have season 3, episode 11 in the thumbnail. There's no point in having it in the title. It's just wasted characters.
Example for podcasts real quick. Viper had one recently. So we have the Tube Talk podcast. That's our vidIQ podcast. And Viper did one recently. Let me see. Not that one. Let me scroll down a little bit more. This one. The title of the podcast is He Went from 120,000 subscribers to 0. This is a very, very interesting title to me. Very intriguing. Immediately, I wanted to know more, and I know the story.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just pointing out right now. If we had a podcast channel, then that would be what I expect the video title to be. I might use a different thumbnail, with like a graph going down or something like that. But yeah, like that to me was like such a good, strong title. But if this just said Tube Talk episode 237, no one, who cares? Like, what's it about though? What is episode 237 about? So we don't, when we title our podcasts for our own podcast feed and things like that, by the way, you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts. This is the type of title we use. So when you're doing stuff like that, I'm using podcast as an example because this is such a podcasty title to me. It might not be a podcast, but just ignore that if it's not. It's the point is, what's the video about? What's season 3, episode 11 about? Who's it for? Why should I watch?
Give me a reason to click. Why should I watch? Right? Always keep that in mind, because like I said, 28 views, you didn't do yourself any favors. And it's still, and I would say this is very clear. YouTube doesn't give up on your content, so you shouldn't either. Right? So don't be afraid to go back and fix something like this. Yeah. So Evans City, it's the Evans City Cemetery. Okay, cool. How can we fix that? How can we spice that up and give somebody a reason to click? Think about that. Give that some thought, because obviously that's episode 11. There's probably a bunch of other videos that are titled like this. Yeah, actually there is. There's Vale Cemetery. There's Mount Hope Cemetery. Give us a reason to click.
Yeah. What was creepy about this cemetery? What was interesting about it? What happened? So we're about to start randomly selecting your channels to audit.
Nice.
Before we do, real quick, earlier, just a minute ago, I was talking about what I tell gaming channels all the time, which is play one game, play one game, play one game. This person asked a really good question. Does one game specifically mean one game? Because like Undertale and all these other titles they mentioned are basically one fan base. That's the spoiler for my video that I'm working on.
Yep.
It isn't just one game. It is one audience that you want to focus on. And that's what the message I'm going to try to get across this year in my annual gaming video that I make.
Yeah. There's a channel that I stumbled upon that does Final Fantasy. But they're not just doing one Final Fantasy game. They're doing all of them, because they're aiming at the Final Fantasy fan, not the person specifically playing the one Final Fantasy game. And the views tend to vary, obviously, but it's something that definitely can work in your favor by aiming at the fan, not at the particular content.
There's a channel called Let's Game It Out that I just love to watch. And this guy goes out of his way to break games. And he plays all kinds of games. A lot of like simulator style games, but mostly it doesn't matter what he plays, because I know what I'm going to get too. He's made videos for an audience that loves watching someone not take games seriously at all. So you really got to like think about audience when you're doing stuff like that. Now, the way he grew was focusing on one game for a while, and then slowly started to branch out, and everything just kind of fell into place. Anyway, that's not what I want to show you. Before we get into random selections, I want to show you something really super freaking cool. That you can go play with right now if you want. It is our AI coach. So this is an early preview, and as such, everyone currently has access as long as you have a vidIQ account. So feel free to check this out. If you've heard of ChatGPT, this is like that, but specifically for YouTube and YouTube-related topics. Think of this as your AI coach for your channel. We have our real coaches like Jeff, and now we have this robot one. So Jeff, as a good example for everybody, what should I ask the AI coach?
Can you give me 5 video ideas for a mobile phone review channel.
All right. Let's see what it comes up with. It will take a minute to think. Absolutely. This is a big block of text. Depending on what type of reviews you're doing and what kind of content you want to create, there are a few different options for video ideas for a mobile phone review channel. One idea is to do unboxings and first impression videos. This gives potential viewers an idea of what the phone looks like and what they'll be getting after they buy it. Another idea is to review the phone based on its specs and features. Go over some of the pros and cons of the phone and let viewers know why they should or shouldn't buy it. You could also create comparison videos where you compare the phone you're reviewing to other similar phones in the same price range. And It says you can also, I think it was going to continue. Again, this is an early preview. It is new. So you will find funny little bugs like that here and there. If you find anything and you feel like sharing it with us, please do follow the appropriate channels for that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of one myself now. I'm not feeling very creative. Usually with these things, I feel very overwhelmed because the world is my oyster right now. I can ask this thing whatever I want.
Oh man.
Let's see.
So, but really quick, let me answer this question because this is the question that I knew was going to be coming up immediately, and this is from Beer League Hockey League. Is that free, Dan and El Jefe? So right now, if you have a vidIQ account, it is free to use for all users while it is in its early testing phase. So just keep that in mind.
There you go. Thank you for your questions. I will ask it one thing and we'll move on. Let's see. I just had it and I lost it. I have a gaming channel and I'm playing a, let's see. No, I don't want to be too specific. Let's test it a little bit. I have a gaming channel and I'm not getting any views. I've uploaded 1,000 videos. Does YouTube hate me? See what we got. No, YouTube doesn't hate you. It's likely that you're using ineffective techniques for growing your channel and maximizing your viewership. Here are a few tips to get more views on your channel. First, think about the title, thumbnail, and description of your videos. Make sure they are eye-catching and appealing to your target audience. Second, use keywords in your titles and descriptions. Research popular keywords related to your topic and incorporate them into your content. Third, promote your videos on social media to reach a wider audience. Share the link to your video on Twitter, Facebook, and other social networks. Finally, use the YouTube analytics to track the performance of your videos and see, we'll make sure to report the fact that it's not finishing its thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
The live stream because it happened again.
Yeah, it could be that we're up against a maximum character limit. So that's something we definitely want to report. But like we're showing you guys this, kind of early access version of this, but it's still really cool, especially for answering really, really basic, simple questions that come up. But even then, when we've asked some other tougher questions, it's actually given us some pretty insightful answers. So, but definitely something to play around with, try out. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool in my opinion.
Yep. And you can reset the conversation at any point. Otherwise, it's going to remember like what you've talked about so far.
Yeah.
And we have some warnings here about how you're sometimes going to get incorrect information, things like that. Because of course, this is all still very, very early. So play with it. Share your feedback with us. Let us know what you think. We're very, very excited. Awesome feature. Really test it out.
Also, you find it on the vidIQ dashboard on the vidIQ site. So you have to log into the vidIQ website. That's where you find it. So I know some people only use apps and stuff like that. You have to use it here.
Yes.
So, at least in the meantime, that could change, but yeah.
And just for a more practical example, before we move on, like what could I use this for kind of example? I'm making a video about unboxing a new pack of rare Pokemon cards. Could you please give me 5 title ideas that will win the click? You don't have to say that, but just for fun. So 1, unboxing the rarest Pokemon card pack. Surprises inside. Another one is collection reveal. Unboxing the ultimate Pokemon card pack. Opening the epic Pokemon card pack. What will we find? Unboxing a surprise Pokemon card pack. Can you guess what's inside? And get ready to collect. Unboxing the rare Pokemon card pack. So a few decent examples in there. I don't know if I use any of these verbatim, but I might alter them a little bit. And these give me a really nice jumping off point. So it can help you with things like that. Title ideas, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, There you go. The AI coach. Check it out.
Yep.
That's it. That's
What
not
time is it?
It's that time again. We're gonna audit more channels, but we can't do it without help. It's the claw. There we go. I was waiting for the claw sound effect, but I forgot Rob's not here. So
Yep.
it's just you. Go for it.
The claw.
So the claw is going to help us select your channels. There are 2 forms linked down below, and it's not too late to fill them out. One is for non-gaming channels. One is for gaming channels. And what you want to do is fill them out down below, and we are going to set the claw. They're very similar in terms of responses right now. We're going to set the claw up to hopefully get everybody here. 460. We're going to draw 332 from the non-gaming form. Someone who submitted relatively recently. It's about coding, they say. That's what their channel is about.
Coding, or a guy named Cody? Okay,
Master coding.
Got it.
So they're doing developer style videos, software development. These thumbnails are not too dissimilar from what I've seen in the space, actually. There's a lot of text, more than I would like, but when it comes to programming thumbnails, what you'll often find is like a logo or something like that, and a little bit of text explaining what they're doing. So yeah, let's see. That's the first thing I noticed. Another thing I'm seeing right here, Jeff. What is this tag? Web development
Interesting.
English. Is that the playlist?
I believe that it's either the playlist. Let me see. That's interesting. Because I've seen something like that before, but on a mobile view. Oh yeah, featured playlist. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen it in mobile view. I've never seen it on desktop. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I like that.
This is what YouTube is doing now. This is what I was alluding to earlier with playlists. I'm noticing them pop up in different areas. And this is one of the new areas I've noticed them. I just didn't realize it would be on the video page like it was. So if you're doing a course, if you're doing something that is chronological and it's important that people are able to find all the content about that one thing, definitely put in a playlist and consider carefully what the playlist is called, because you may find that it's popping up. YouTube is now probably testing this feature where it's going to pop up in different places. So be very, very mindful of that.
Yep.
Which they are. They are being very mindful of that. I think when it comes to programming channels, my advice here, and this channel seems to be taking it, would be to make sure your titles are searchable while also being very approachable. So the one I'm looking at is 11 days ago. It says how to create a simple HTML link, script, and meta tag. Very straightforward how-to. The one thing you want to do is make sure you're not talking over people's heads when it comes to this stuff, because your knowledge is going to be a lot deeper than the knowledge of the user that you're trying to help with this content. So if you're using super, super technical terms that aren't necessarily helpful to search, you're probably not going to win that click. So like one thing I've never heard of is an anchor tag. If this is a popular enough thing, ignore me, but I kind of wonder, like, is there another way to explain what an anchor tag is? Like, what function does it perform? You know, so in cases like that, that might not be a great example, but in cases like that, I'd be thinking about, okay, I don't think people are going to understand the name of the thing I'm trying to teach. So what problem does it solve? And I'll focus my title and thumbnail on fixing that problem. So there's just a few things I'm seeing. What are you seeing, Jeff?
One thing I don't like is a thumbnail wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's always bugged me, but I get where they're sort of coming from with this, because it's part of this web development English series. But when you look at it outside of the playlist, it looks like this, and it just doesn't really look very good. It's like, what's different, right? What's different? I mean, are these literally identical thumbnails? No, there is some difference in the tiny ass text. Excuse me for my language here. Hold on, let me see if I can zoom myself in physically.
So it copies the title.
Essentially, yeah, it copies the title. There's already too much text on the thumbnail, firstly. Secondly, the only text that changes is the second line in the middle. Listen, all that other stuff could just be out of there, to be completely honest, and it should just be exactly what it's about. So let's say like anchor tags and images should be the only text on that whole thumbnail. to be completely honest. So, but yeah, that's one thing I've never been a fan of it. I get why they do it and why in their mind it makes sense to do it this way. But when you look at the channel as a whole, or when it's presented to you, the thumbnail is just not going to work. Like, let's say somebody does look up that specifically, how to use anchor tags and images, right? They Google search it. That thumbnail is, they're not even going to be able to read what it says in the thumbnail because there's so many things going on. So it's just too much text, too many elements. I would really, really think about slimming that down if possible. Yeah, I mean, look at the simplicity of these thumbnails.
Yep. This is the one time I will probably say this, but I think you would be better off getting rid of all the text you had and using episode numbers, in the sense that since these are for a very like long form kind of tutorial, the episode number would make sense to me. You know,
for this, yes.
Yes, for this, it actually makes sense. In most cases, I would say drop the number. It's completely useless. But if people are learning from a course, they do need to know what number they're on. You could have that in your title, you could have it in your description, or you could have it in your thumbnail for lack of a better thumbnail. But I think doing just a tiny bit of thumbnail research, you're going to find some even better ideas than putting an episode number. You know, even these more busy ones from 6 years ago, this one got 61,000 views. So sometimes it's just as simple as just putting up a sheet of code. You know, this channel got 20,000 views from 5 years ago. So I think the thumbnails you're using, they are eating into, I'm going to say this, it's going to sound really mean, but I think they're eating into your credibility. I think that these thumbnails don't look super professional, and it's very tough to sell, quote unquote, your course when your thumbnails are not up to scratch. So I would say the thumbnail examples we just saw are probably even easier to make in some cases, and I would be working on a new thumbnail style for sure. There's what I said earlier was basically me saying there's nothing wrong with using like an HTML5 logo or anything in your thumbnails and having a little bit of text, because the space is very text dependent, but it's got to look better than what we're seeing now.
Yep. Can't agree more, man. Can't agree more.
Yep. And hey, props on your latest video. Top technologies you should learn in 2023 to master coding. I think that's great. I think you could go deeper on that topic. What are some of the top languages I should know to have the best chance of being employed as a software developer in 2023? You know, if your aim is to help people who are trying to get into the field, videos like that would be hugely valuable. I would make them longer though. 39 seconds for a top list, a listicle kind of video. I think I'm not going to get a lot of detail in there. Tell me about some of these technologies and what they do and why they're important and what their future is like. I think in 39 seconds, you're not going to be able to get to all that information, but there's a lot of really good information that you could have stuffed into that video. I think that, in this case, is the reason this video is being held back with only 217 views. So lots and lots of places you can take this content. And for 1 month on YouTube, let's give them a little bit of credit here. For 1 month on YouTube, fabulous progress. Like, this is great. I would still like to see some different pivots in your strategy, but this is for 1 month of work, 66 subscribers, hundreds of views in some of these. This is great. So cool.
Yep, I agree.
We'll go to the next claw selected channel. Our free range grass-fed organic claw is ready to pull out your channels from the hundreds of submissions we have. 475, we'll update it. We'll go to the gaming forum and go to 49 on the gaming forum. That's 46. All right, M.G.E. They do tutorial, is what they said. So we'll see. I'm guessing they do tutorial gaming videos about what? Among Us?
Interesting.
These don't look like tutorials.
Yeah, it looks like Among Us Funny Moments 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. So
perfect example of when I would say not to use episode numbers.
Yeah.
Because you're inviting me not to click on this video by saying, hey, this is number 27. Like, easy, pal. You got to go back. You have 26 more videos you have to watch before you can watch this one. I think for a Funny Moments video, that's great for your documentation of like what you're up to. anywhere you should put that is in the description, if not at all. Like, I wouldn't have it at all. But if you want to try and keep track of how many of these you've done, put it in the description, put it somewhere a little more hidden. These episode numbers are killing you right now. Like, there's just no reason to invite people not to watch. And that's exactly what these are doing. If these are just funny moments, then let them be funny moments. There's no reason to number them. But I think the number is a laziness thing. I think it's like a lack of creativity. I can't think of what to title this because I want to make my title exactly the same, but I got to change something. So I'll just change the episode number. I don't think you need to put an episode number. I mean, we're seeing different fluctuations in views with otherwise the same exact title. I think the episode number isn't the difference maker. I think it's the thumbnail. I think you can use the same exact title over and over if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to, you're getting some views on that title. It's the thumbnail that's going to be winning the click here.
Yeah, the thumbnails are solid. We got to give credit where credit is due. Aside from the titles, the thumbnails are legit. I like what I'm seeing there. So yeah, I got no words for that because it's a straight up picture. Now there's a little bit of text here and there as needed, but overall, like they're super clean and they're very expressive. So that would make me want to click, and that's really what it is. Now, finding a way of getting the title to complement the thumbnails, that's really going to be the key to start really getting this to pick up a bit more. But yeah, and I like that a comment came in here a second ago, and I wanted to show it to you. And from A+ Russian, all is well in the world. Episode numbers are bad again. I like that one. That was good. That was good.
The balance is back.
Yes. Yes. The force is balanced once again.
Yes. It's all thanks to M.G.E. So yeah, I agree. Thumbnails are amazing. They're very, very strong for a channel with only 125 subscribers. Like, this is fantastic. And that's not even to say only. Only is a bad word to use here. 125 people have subscribed to you. That's fantastic news. Yep. And in some of these, you're getting over 1,000 views. So that's really good. Try to pay attention to your most popular videos. Look at the thumbnails. Look at what's in the actual videos themselves. Look at what's worked in the past. Look at the retention on those videos. Have you noticed that it's better than some of the ones that didn't do as well? And just kind of study your content and see what's going on. I think this is a really strong start to a gaming channel overall.
Yep, absolutely, man. I like what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. Are you using the community tab? You are, a little bit.
Good.
Yesterday, I reached 101 subs. This is exactly where you celebrate that. I'm glad to not see a thanks for 100 sub video on your channel. That's really good. How's your day going? I think this is great. This is a good start to using the community tab. You are going to find that you get way more votes and way more responses if you continue to do polls and image posts about the thing that your videos are about. There's plenty of room for you to do stuff like this, and it's totally fine. I'm not discouraging that. But I would also make time in your community tab to ask your audience about them. But beyond just how are you today, rate your day is kind of like your go-to. Rate your day is kind of like, okay, what about Among Us? What about like the game that is like the common thread on your channel? Like, ask questions about that. Like, try and get people talking about different things. Like, take something you've always wondered about Among Us and turn it into a poll or an image post or something. That is what I would do with the community tab. Get your audience to talk about the things that interest them as they relate to your content. There we go. All right, we will go back to the CLAAAAAW in a moment. We have a few more super chats we want to address real quick. One of them is from Extravengers Gaming. Thank you for the super chat. If I promote on YouTube ads to specific audiences through affinity and interest in Google ads and get subscribers, is that okay? Because not anyone is subscribing to the channel. I think what they're saying is they're trying this method and it's not working for them, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I don't know if the method's not working. I think they're asking if they should do it to get people to subscribe, and I would say no. Mm-hmm. So, because essentially what we're asking here and what it boils down to is, can I buy subscribers? Right? I have money that I can drop on this to fix this problem. The issue here is that ads should be used as ads,
yes,
not for a channel growth strategy. So, because most of the time when you run these ads, it's going to put them in front. It might even put them in front of the right people, but if they were searching for something else and then your video appears, they're going to skip it after 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's the issue, and it can kill the retention on your video. Now, it's going to be good to get views, But as soon as you turn off the money spigot, those views are gone. So from what I've seen over and over and over and over, this has been a failed strategy. Not saying that there aren't outliers who have made it work, targeting experts and things of that nature. But for most people, this is a poor way of doing it. Here's what it comes down to, and it can sound harsh, but if the content is worth subscribing to, they will.
Yep. Anyone who is watching an ad is doing so under duress. Like,
yeah, for the most part.
Nobody asked to see your ad, but what they did ask for is whatever video it was they were trying to click on in the first place. So they are only waiting for your ad to end. And that's why ads are fantastic if you are selling a product or a service, because your goal is to quickly tell somebody about something that might be valuable to them. You're not expecting them to jump on it right now. What you're expecting is that the next time they need a plumber, they think of Tom's Plumbing because Tom had that great ad that you saw. But that's their use. It is not for growing a YouTube channel. All you're doing is, getting a bunch of views and getting used to like a level of views that is not sustainable because you're just getting them from ads. And you'll notice the retention on those is typically, if your ad is skippable in the first 5 seconds, your retention is 100% for 5 seconds. And that's it. That's all you ever get. Everyone clicks off.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not going to get anything from that strategy. Build an audience organically. YouTube is a machine. It's going to put your video out there if it understands who it's for. And that's why we do these live streams, because we're just trying to help people understand that they need to make content for a specific type of person. But at the end of the day, that's all you're trying to do. And YouTube will do the rest. You don't have to give them a dime. In fact, they will pay you. So don't do that. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money.
Yeah, don't forget that the algorithm, in all its mysteriousness and all of that, it just follows human behavior. That's all it's doing. It's following what the viewers are clicking on, and it's trying to match content with people. So if you replace the word algorithm with audience or with humans, it starts to make much more sense, and you can start moving in the right direction.
Next up, we have super chat here. What is killing my channel? What is killing my channel? I don't know. Watch the stream. Try and compare your channel to some of the ones we're seeing, and take some notes. Look at your channels while we're doing these streams in a way that is from the viewer's perspective. Take yourself out of your own shoes for a minute and try and say, am I making that mistake that this channel seems to be making on screen right now? And best of luck to you. Darknet Horror Stories. I can create a video on one channel with 3,000 subs and get 50 views. I can create on this one and get 500 subs and get 3,000 views. Same title and thumbnail. Why?
So hold on. I'm just trying to reread this. So create a video on one channel with 3,000 subs, get 50 views. Create it on this one, 500 subs, and get 3. See, that's too. There's going to be way too many variables here to get a straight answer on this. Because if the one channel with 3,000 views has a bunch of other random videos that aren't targeting that audience, then there's a chance why that video would get low views. But if the channel with only 500 subs is highly targeted, there's a good chance that because YouTube can figure out exactly who that audience is for, why it can go bigger. So the same video on 2 separate channels, they would have to be putting out the exact same content, every single video from the very beginning. And I doubt that's the case. So if you're having better luck on the channel with smaller subs, go with that channel. So one thing you have to remember is that the higher sub numbers, aside from hitting monetization requirements, it doesn't matter that much. And that's why, to me, that's why when people really, I'm after subs, it's like, you should be after getting views, because views is what brings subs, and views is what you need to actually get paid from AdSense. So chasing subs is the wrong mindset completely. Chasing, if anything, you should be chasing is making good content that targets a specific person that's going to get viewed, because that's what's actually going to get you paid.
Your story is exactly why we keep saying the phrase subs don't matter, because they don't. You can get 3,000 subs, but that doesn't matter, especially if you built an audience on that old channel about something that is not what you're doing today. That you might as well have 0 subs. That's starting over, So ignore the subscriber count in that case. It doesn't matter. Like, look at our subscriber count, and then look at how many concurrent viewers we have on the stream right now. It's just there's so many factors that go into it. We stream at a very specific time. Only so many people can watch. Only so many people feel like they want this kind of content within our audience. Like, subs don't matter. It doesn't. It literally does not matter, except for that, and for monetization goals.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all they're there for. We got a bunch of super chats here from Sinosa. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but thank you so much for your super stickers. Appreciate you. And then Vic Roy says that they just started streaming. Congratulations. Best of luck.
Cool.
Right we love streaming, so we appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. All right, back to the claw, back to picking channels. We're going to do a non-gaming channel now, and we're closing in on 500 form submissions, so I'm just going to bump this to 500. And we are going to pick out 420. Everybody behave. Everybody be cool. Be chill. Nobody's going to be immature.
Easy.
Oh, easy now.
Easy.
We're all adults here. We're all going to be super, super mature about what just happened. Right.
Whatever you're thinking about typing, don't
type it. This is not the right channel. Let me try again. Everyone's going to be super chill and cool. Hey, everybody.
Nice.
I said, chat, I said stop it right now. I said you were going to be super chill and cool. Never mind. You know what? Just turn off the chat again. Just ignore that. All right.
Can't take them
Armwrestling
anywhere.
television. Huh?
Can't take them anywhere.
No, we can't. We can't do anything on this live stream. Arm Wrestling Television with 105 subscribers. Thank you for submitting. Only a month ago, you're already at 105 subscribers. It's awesome to see. So I did not realize, though I'm not surprised, that there are professional arm wrestlers. My guess with a channel like this is you would want to be the person covering these events, giving your feedback on them. What I'm worried about is similar to other channels that cover sports. Does this kind of look like a channel that's just rebroadcasting clips from the events? And on the surface, to me, it does.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, with the exception of this last video, because it seems like a listicle, so there's entire possibility that they could actually be voicing over, like, hey, in number 8 is blah, 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 blah. But the rest of it definitely looks like re-uploaded videos from someone else, and that it can be a very, very sketchy way to build a channel. Now, just because other people have gotten away with it doesn't mean, like, you know, you might see these channels that are doing something similar, but that doesn't mean that they're not getting massive copyright claims and things like that behind the scenes. So I would be very, very careful with this if you're not doing some sort of voiceover or something to change the content and to make it original. Your own commentary, whatever it might be, something to transform it. That's something that I would really be looking into. The top 10 could work better for you. I've seen a lot of really good, not even just arm wrestling, but like martial arts, boxing, MMA, a lot of these types of channels that do listicles. You know what I mean? Like the top 5 head kicks and the top 5, ground and pounds, the top 5 submissions. Like you could do stuff like that can work really, really well. And it's transformative because you are taking different clips, but you're voicing with them. Like, hey, and in our clip number 3, so-and-so got somebody in an arm bar, you know, stuff like that. And I've seen that work really well on some successful channels. So just something to think about. But, you know, just uploading these, I don't know. I'm not really, I don't think this is a good strategy for this channel, to be honest.
Yeah, unless you run whatever league this is, all we can do is assume that these are clips that you may not own just based on the thumbnails. But this is a really good idea. And I also think you could do a bunch of videos just on the idea that professional arm wrestling exists and how fascinating that is. Like you could probably do some videos with a really broad appeal, you know, like, did you know that arm wrestling was a pro sport? You know, just something basic like that. And another thing is with this video here, I would have taken like a picture of like arm wrestling, even a stock photo or something, and maybe an arrow pointing and says like, you know, 112 wins or something, just something, an interesting stat that's going to be in the video, in the thumbnail, just to give it that just a bit more intrigue. Because right now it seems like these are just freeze frames that YouTube selected for you. And if you want to win the click, I think you could be doing a lot better when it comes to your titles and your thumbnails.
Right. And then, so they did say that some of these videos are their own, like maybe they recorded them themselves, which is interesting, but they also asked for us to take a look at their shorts.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So they have 3 shorts right now.
We're gonna have to step that up, man.
Yeah. That's gonna be the biggest thing. I mean, the first one you posted got 6,000 views, and I think it's great that you're going out and getting this footage on your own. But with shorts, yeah, it's kind of about velocity, if you have other ideas, like start seeing if you can get them up more consistently. They don't have to be on a really tight schedule or anything like that, but see if you can post a certain amount every week. Just to kind of challenge yourself, get up to speed, because shorts is kind of all about feeding the beast. You know, it's just like keep getting stuff out there. We're talking about videos that are under a minute long, so YouTube finds an audience for them. People watch and they don't watch them again. You know, they might loop them a couple times if they're really interesting, but they're not going to come back. So
Right.
there's only so much opportunity there. So I would just continue to post as much as you can. And when you find something that's working in shorts, what word can I use here? I would just jump all over it. I would continue trying that same formula. You've noticed on this channel perhaps that we've been trying out shorts, and we've tried all kinds of things. And what we've been doing is just building up our shorts catalog, just trying to get a whole bunch of shorts in our channel, because what that's going to do is help us figure out what ones work the best. What are the hooks we're using at the beginning of our shorts that are getting people to watch more? What are the ones that get them to swipe away really fast? What are some of the titles and the topics that are resonating with our audience versus ones that get skipped a lot? And we already know so much more about shorts for ourselves than we knew a couple months ago before we were doing them. And we've already been studying shorts quite a bit, but for us, we just had never done the experimentation on our own channel until recently. So, you know, it's about just trying things. If you have some ideas, just try them out.
Yep, for sure.
One tip for everybody, by the way, I've been watching some more shorts. I watched 3 shorts in a row. I was scrolling through that started with the phrase, "Did you know?" And they were all about different topics. Did you know? And that got me thinking, like, why do people choose to use that exact phrase so often? Because it was like 3 times in a row, but I heard it throughout my time scrolling on shorts that day, many times. Did you know? And it's just kind of a good way to get people to stop. And you're just giving them a little factoid, something they did not know, or maybe hopefully didn't know, you know, and you're explaining it with the use of video. I think it's great. I think everyone should be approaching shorts in a way that's approachable for a random viewer. Think about how people scroll, right? Like you get to the short shelf from one of these little buttons on your phone or on desktop, and YouTube's going to present you something that you did not ask it to present you. You click on it.
The 3 longest videos on YouTube.
And something just starts playing. I didn't get to select this. And if I scroll to the next one, I didn't get to select that either. And if I scroll to the next one,
I made money on YouTube in 1 week.
Notice how these start out with like a story. Notice how they start out with like breaking the fourth wall and just addressing you, the viewer, right away. You know, and did you know is the same strategy. So really understand when it comes to shorts, really understand this is how people are primarily finding them. They don't ask to watch your short in most cases.
And they don't click on a thumbnail either.
Yep. They're not clicking on a thumbnail. They're not looking at the title necessarily. There are other ways people find shorts, of course. I don't know if it'll pop up right now. There is a short shelf, and this is another entry point. So here the titles do matter quite a bit. And it's nice when a thumbnail freeze frame works in your favor, and YouTube is getting better at these. But a lot of times, like if you click on any one of these shorts, there's a really good chance the next one you go to won't matter what the title is, because the hook will get you where it won't. The title and thumbnail are simply the first 2 or 3 seconds of your short. That's the title and thumbnail. So those are just some general tips for YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. There's one that I want to answer to because this comes up every time, and it's the most asked question. I have a problem with my shorts stop getting views, and I want to know why. That's how shorts work.
Yep.
Right? So for anybody who's wondering why their shorts get sudden views and then just stop, that's how shorts work. It doesn't mean that they won't start getting views again at some point in the future. That's happened. We've seen it happen multiple times. So, but that is how shorts work. YouTube, it's testing them quickly. And if they're working, they keep going. If they're not, it stops. And you know what you're supposed to do? Don't worry about it. Move on to the next one.
Yep. Keep going.
Yep.
That's the plan. All right. Back to the claw. We are going to select stop it, claw. We are going to select a gaming channel now from the gaming form, which is up to 441 responses. 120. All right. And it is FluteMonke. They have 18 subscribers. They do Let's Plays and tutorials. Let's see what we can do for FluteMonke. All right. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get on this channel. I'll make this one quick. We've given a lot of different bits of advice today that definitely apply to this channel. One of them would be to play more games, do more videos, not play more games, but make more videos. It's time to learn a little bit more about how YouTube works, and you can't do that without posting more videos. So I mean, we've got Donkey Kong, we got Hollow Knight. So there's not much here to go off of, unfortunately. So I understand you submitted your channel, you know, hopefully hoping for some like advice on how to grow. It's going to be as simple as making some more videos, taking the advice we've given, you know, hundreds of other channels in the past, and applying some of it. But it's time.
You got to just hit record.
Yeah, it's time to pick a direction and kind of try things out for a bit.
Yeah,
so
for sure. No shorts either, which is interesting. I thought for sure they would have had some shorts on that channel, but nope.
Yeah, as for new channels, by the way, shorts is a really good entry point into YouTube if you're a brand new creator and you're just trying to like figure things out. I mean, they really train you in telling a concise story, and it's nice because you don't have to worry about thumbnails. It's just, to me, it's a much easier way. They can only be a minute long. Like, it's a much easier way to get into making videos in the first place. It's just such a fun starting point. So you can consider shorts being like, you know, an entry point to YouTube. I'm going to pick another gaming channel, 172. And let's see. 1, 2. It's going to be IGame. I'm going to tell IGame you should try to figure out your handle.
Yeah.
This is very new, late 2022, early 2023 advice I'm giving you right now. Try to get this number out of your handle. I understand @IGame might be taken. If it were me, I would go the extreme route of trying to find a completely new name that isn't taken, that doesn't have a bunch of numbers in it. But we want it to be memorable. You don't need to go that route. Some people could just you just use an underscore. I have a friend, a great YouTuber, and they just put an underscore after their name. It's a very short YouTube name, and they couldn't get their handle, so they just popped an underscore at the end of it. Perfectly searchable and easy to type in. Like, the whole point of handles is so people can communicate better on YouTube. So you want to make this memorable. You want to make this easy. So I would recommend going for that, but it's not the end of the world if you'd rather leave it alone. 4 months ago, got a lot of new channels today. So you're getting close to 300 subscribers. Looks like you're playing some Roblox. Let's see here. You're doing a lot of all caps in your titles. I would use caps more strategically. This is a very niche bit of advice here, but I think when you all caps everything, suddenly nothing matters in the title. And just like when you all lowercase something, it just makes the title kind of look unprofessional and meh. Title casing is another thing you do where you just capitalize the first letter of every word in the title that's supposed to be capitalized. But I like to do title casing plus 1 or 2 all caps words to add emphasis to something. And that's, in my personal opinion, like the way I think titles can be most appealing. Like, I tried this and blank happened, you know, just taking a couple words and emphasizing them. This is another case of more content. Right now, you're uploading about 1 video a month. If you can get yourself uploading more, if possible, it's not required, but if possible, you were going to give yourself more shots at the target. You're going to give yourself more opportunities to grow. And as YouTube growth people, it's, you know, we're just inclined to give that kind of advice. Your latest video is the one with the most views, Roblox Doors, multiple jump scares. Maybe Roblox Doors is a game you want to double down on. With those types of views, I would say that's an early look at some success here. So Roblox Doors, multiple jump scares. I think there's better ways to title videos like this. I would keep playing with this game, and I would keep testing out different titles and thumbnails. When it comes to Roblox, you want to take your favorite game in the Roblox space, and you want to hit it hard. You want to become the go-to authority on that game. And what's nice about Roblox is there'll come a time your game kind of dies down, but there's always something similar that the audience can kind of gravitate to. And you, as the creator, have an easier time pivoting because at the end of the day, you're still in the same ecosystem. So as long as you're playing a similar Roblox game to the one you were playing before, that later pivot that comes on, that's not super hard to pull off.
Yeah, 100%, man. And then I think a further note on like your channel names and stuff is I know a lot of people have usernames, gamer tags, things of that nature, you know, and that feels like the easy way to do it. But if you're going to do a YouTube channel, you want the name to be easy to say and easy to remember, right? easy to say, easy to remember, easy to type, because something like, you know, IGame, okay, cool. That can be simple enough, but just want people to know that, like, sometimes I see names for YouTube channels and I'm like, I am not going to remember that 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Because it's overly complicated and it should be just something super simple.
Yeah. Finding out that people visit the channel page specifically to decide if they want to subscribe or not was kind of like mind blowing to me, because I've always made sure my channel page is up to scratch, but I just don't pay too much attention to it. But I've gone in and started to make sure mine's updated because people are looking at it. So this is just one more thing, just for some housekeeping, you know, that just to make sure it's exactly what you want it to be. It's memorable. It's, you know, and that's gonna be the most important thing, because you will early in your YouTube journey, when you look at the things that people type into search, when you go to your analytics, you can do this. You can see the types of things people have searched in the past to pull up your channel or your videos. And it does not take very long before somebody uses your name to find your channel.
Yep.
Someone who's seen your videos before types it into search, because that's the easiest way to find you for them. So you want that to be as unique as possible and as memorable as possible and easy to spell. All right, cool. We will do a non-gaming channel, right? Right. We will do a non-gaming channel. That is going to be on this list. We are at 500 responses, which is great because that's what I had set the claw to. 367 on the non-gaming channel. And it's going to be this channel. I don't know how to say your name. Rauk? I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. FPV. So I think yes, drones and tutorials. So they did say in their forum post they were doing drone content.
Yeah, that's a first person view.
First person view. Got it. Okay. FPV.
Yeah, it's where they wear the goggles and they fly around. It's really dope. Like, the cinematography that FPV guys get is insane.
I have to imagine it takes some getting used to, so you don't get sick. You don't get motion sickness.
Yeah, you definitely would have to be the right kind of person for that.
So what are you seeing here, Jeff? This reminds me of a tech channel.
Yeah, sort of does, right? The content-wise, because they are talking about tech, right? Drones is what they are. Now, mind you, drones in itself, there are multiple sub-niches of that as well. So, but that's sort of what I'm seeing too. It gives me the tech channel vibes. There's a lot of how-to, you know, like how to set up liftoff for the ultimate freestyle FPV experience, most authentic. So it seems like they're doing a lot of sort of review how-to kind of stuff. My only issue here is these maybe it's just because I'm not familiar how to set up. Oh, you know what? Because I keep seeing this liftoff logo and these two middle ones. I think that's an actual product or a software. I'm not familiar. I'm not a drone guy, so please forgive me for that. But maybe that's what I'm seeing. Like the way you see like PS for like Photoshop thumbnails, maybe that's what they're doing there. That's what I'm trying to figure out. The only concern that I was having there is they had a white background on some of those thumbnails, and there was like white text. Even though it had a drop shadow, white text over white background can be a little tough to read sometimes. But I'm glad that they're sort of simplifying this. Let's see. Some of the titling might need a little work too, but what do you think?
Like ripping a construction site. In the context of this is like a first-person drone. Like I had to think about this for a little too long, but I'm guessing ripping is just the term they decided to use to maybe say they're flying fast through it or something. You know, what if the title was a little more straightforward? Like, I almost crashed my drone at this construction site. Because I think the thumbnail's pretty strong. It looks like a construction site, you know, and it's kind of an aerial shot of it. I'm pointing out that one because I think that's my favorite thumbnail out of a lot of these, because they're relying a lot on text for what should be a channel that is doing really, really cool, you know, cinematography type thumbnails, right?
Yeah.
Like they're getting these amazing shots with a first person drone, and I don't quite understand why some of your thumbnails are so dependent on text when you have these opportunities right here where you could be pointing at something, you know, you could be sending a clearer message.
Yeah, I would look at somebody's channel like one of my favorite channels is a good guy I know named Ken. a little controversial in the space of drones, but his thumbnails are super clean. If you want to take a look, his channel, the first word is original, no space, and then DOBO. No space. Yep. So take a look here. Much cleaner. You see what I'm saying? And it's all about drones, but some of them he's not even in it. Like now these, like look at the DJI Mini 3. It's the drone itself, right? So we're usually talking about a product. The text over the backdrops is very clear to read. Like I'm not having an issue reading any of that sort of stuff. So just look at the other channels to kind of pull some inspiration on what can work to really get attention. Do you have to be in them? Not all the time. You know, and it can really work in your favor.
Yeah. The only thing with that thumbnail is I would just say I would have shot on a background without the trees personally.
Oh no, for sure. It would have been a clear background for me.
Yeah. But this is more what I was expecting from a drone channel. You know, either you at your desk holding a drone, or a drone in the air, or a drone shot that just looks really impressive. You know, this one's great. I love this thumbnail a lot.
Yeah.
12.
But that's some inspiration. It's some good inspiration for them to look at. So this is usually what I would want you to do. Right. And I'm hoping this is what they do. And this applies to literally everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat. Everybody who's watching. You should be looking at the other channels in your space, in your niche, that are getting good views to get an idea of what people are actually clicking on. Right. What kind of style of thumbnail, to get an idea of what's actually getting clicks. This is literally how I got the idea to pull myself out of my thumbnails, when I realized that everybody who was pulling massive views in my niche, their faces weren't in their thumbnails. It was about the product, because we're in a product-based niche. So it's just something to think about, but this is something you all should be doing. You should be doing thumbnail research. If you're not doing thumbnail and title research, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. Yeah.
So yeah, that's really good job though on the channel. 400 subscribers. Like, this is still pretty strong. It's just some stuff is taking off more than others, other videos. So
they're doing shorts too.
Looks like they're doing shorts. Let's see.
Oh, some, yeah.
And this is great. Like, this is exactly what I would want to see in this space. Like, when I scroll your videos, like having the split screen here. I'm gonna mute the music, but this helps give context. You know. The only thing I would say, and you probably have done this, we just clicked on one of these. The only thing I would say is the drone, the simulator you're using is cool, but it looks like a video game. I would like to see what this looks like in real life. You know, it'd be really awesome to see you doing more stuff in shorts, IRL. And I think that'll just lead to even more views, because how many shorts have you seen where someone's flying around in real life in a first-person drone? You know, like that'd be pretty fun. So keep at it.
Yep.
I would say, just looking at their shorts real quick, no need to take up valuable screen real estate with your name here. I think in terms of the crop of your images, even if you can't crop in anymore because you'll lose too much context on the actual screen here, I would have cropped into this more. Like, it looks like you're cut off in a weird, awkward space anyway. I can't even see the whole controller that you're using. So get rid of this, get rid of the big black bar up here, and try to utilize this space better. Just create a better shorts viewing experience for the user, because here's the problem. We have this up here, which is completely irrelevant to us as like a new viewer. And then your lower half of the image is cut off by this text, not really cut off, but covered by this text of the title. And we got the subscribe button and your logo. This isn't changing. Like, YouTube is always going to have these overlaid on top of whatever. So this bottom, I would say sixth of a short, maybe fifth. This bottom section of any short you do is almost like real estate you can't really use for anything super valuable. And I think this footage here is valuable. It should be zoomed in or cropped in a different way. And I want you to fill that entire frame. I definitely wouldn't put anything like this in your shorts. This up here. All right. We did it. Yep. We've audited your channels, and tomorrow we'll do it again, but this time we're going to go into your videos. So join us tomorrow. Look at your clocks, subtract 2 hours. That's when we're going to be live. I'll get the stream set up here a little bit later, and it'll be scheduled, ready to go. And there you go. Check out our AI coach. as long as you're logged into vidIQ, go to app.vidiq.com/chat, and you can check that out. Discord, you can check out our public Discord server, vidiq.com/discord. Any final thoughts, Jeff?
No, that's pretty much it, man.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us. And I'm just looking for the outro and kind of babbling on. Oh, there were super chats we missed too. Thank you for all your super chats. I'm sorry if we didn't get any of your super chats. Do you want to try and answer one of these real quick?
Sure. Let me see. There's
this one.
Do you think variety streamers stand a chance today? Mix of gaming, just chatting, biggest focus on showcasing personality over skill. I would really focus on who you're targeting. So variety is going to be tough because you have to think about people's interests for whether it's for videos, whether it's for live streams, whether it's for shorts. It always comes down to what is the viewer's interest. And if you're talking about a bunch of random stuff, it's going to you're going to have a hard time growing it. Just being real with you. This is why my live stream show that I've been doing for going on almost 2 years is highly targeted on a specific audience. And that's why it's working for me and working for me very, very well.
Yeah. There are plenty of channels that are doing this as an example. But it's still like a tough space to break into. And I think for every one of these channels, you will find that there's a foundation. They always start doing something that that's what gets them popular. There's always that one thing that's the foundation of their whole channel. And the rest of the stuff that they start doing kind of comes in naturally over time, or they just plan it. They plan out their streams. And so when you're watching somebody who jumps from gaming to commentary, like they're on a subreddit and they're reacting to things, I think they just plan that very carefully. And I think that they build that reputation over time. And then they get clips from those streams, and they can take those clips and turn them into their own individual videos where they're just diving deep on a specific topic. Like, I think you can grow. I think there is plenty of a chance, but you gotta target that specific audience. It's important to play games that hopefully that same audience would want to come back for, like the same type of game. And when you're doing the just chatting stuff and things like that, just be aware of the type of audience that is coming in. And like ask yourself every time, like, is this topic that I'm going to cover today, would they care, or would this turn them off because it's about a totally different thing, and then try that. If you're like, I don't know if they'll care, try it anyway. Test it slowly, build it over time, but try to get a foundation in something. Try to get credible, build that credibility doing something specific first. Be known for something, and then slowly build on everything over time. That is one strategy. Yep. We have some others. Thank you, everybody, for submitting. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all your super chats. I saw that one, a long question there, and I didn't want to miss it. But there are a couple more. I do apologize. We have to go. But we will see you tomorrow for video reviews. And I still never found the outro, Jeff, by the way.
It's like, I don't know where that thing went. Where did it go? Did it get removed? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was probably me. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.